Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my overview of Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. So this is an overview, it's a look at the first 2 hours of the game. I have a spiel that I usually do, but generally speaking it's a cursory look at a game to give you broad strokes info and let you know if it's worth your time or worth your money. But the truth is, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. There's an okay game in here, right? Though it has a cloud hanging over it. Controversies from third-party bullshit that shouldn't really be part of the equation, and yet here we are. I'm talking about Sweet Baby Inc. It's very open knowledge that they are involved in this game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I can't be stuffed. I'm not a channel that does this sort of stuff. But the broad look is that the topic of the year in current gaming is that it's come to light that there are these third-party consultant agencies that game dev studios, big and small, will bring them on to correct their game on a meta level beyond the internalized consistency of the game, in the hope that by saying, well, we've got X black dudes or X gay dudes in our game, that BlackRock and ESG associations will give them more funding money. And God knows they need it, because any game that's touched by these companies is getting boycotted into oblivion. I point you to Kenara, whatever the bloody hell it's called, an EA indie game that wasn't terrible, to be honest. It wasn't really super woke, at least from my experience with it. It was an okay Metroidvania game, but that doesn't matter. Sweet Baby touched that company, and now they've sacked half their studio because their game has been boycotted and bombed into oblivion. This game is probably going to suffer the same fate. That would explain why there's been very little marketing around it at all. It's an okay game. I would say it's a good game. It's a good B game, right? Mechanically, fundamentally. It's developed by A44 Games. I haven't not enjoyed my time with it, at least when I'm playing it. These guys, you might know them from their previous game, Ashen, and this game is very much a spiritual successor to it. All the problems, big and small, are here as well. I.e. kind of Souls-like, but lighter on a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the meta progression, RPG mechanics and weapons pulled out. Starts to drift towards more of a God of War type game like the modern ones, but Ashen had like a really floaty, kind of clunky combat that could get frustrating when it actually turned the difficulty up and pushed you, because the mechanics kind of failed it a bit. Same thing here. Obviously, we've got a different art style, different aesthetic, kind of a bit of a step back if we're being perfectly honest. The Ashen art direction was quite unique. This is screaming to have a vibrant palette, and yet they've desaturated all of the colors in the world to something like the Gears of War, COD days where everything was brown and muddy. There's some verticality in the combat and moving around the world, which is really interesting, and I kind of like that. But at its core, it's doing all the things that these companies keep doing because they're all getting consulted by the same group of people where, to me, it just looks more and more like a racial stereotype. A studio full of pasty white soy boy developers in their silicon bubble go, hey, we want a black, powerful female character, so we're going to give her the half haircut, because that's the haircut they have. We're going to put some dangly metal bits in her hair and give her a bit of tribal face paint, because that's what they have. Never mind that she's in a colonial era military uniform. They're kind of going for that with the Flintlock pistols and all that sort of stuff. So if anyone that knows anything about uniforms in any medium knows that you wouldn't have that sort of haircut and nonsense on your face, full stop. Uniforms, funnily enough, are about being uniform. And then on top of that, of course, ride the stereotype, boys. We're going to make her strong, powerful, bucks back to authority, knows better than everyone else. They should have sent her in the opening mission, but they didn't, and that was to their peril, with no faults or anything, and I guess she's going to go kill all these gods as well, because if anyone can, it's her. I don't know why these devs even pull their punches. Make her health Estus flask fucking watermelon. Come on, you cowards, do it. This stereotyping every single black character into the same cookie cutter thing, my god, I feel for my brother and sister brown gamers. It must be such a kick in the dick that every single one of these characters looks this way. But the real egregious thing, apart from them torpedoing a perfectly good game with this nonsense, is that they've decided to kind of make the culture of the people in this melting pot to the extreme, to the point of homogenization. Moving around this what they call them, coffee shops, the rest areas in your base. So soy latte to go, boys. Oh my god, can't make this shit up. But moving around it, there's a white guy over there. Okay, there's an Asian chick over there. There's a brown dude over here. Oh, there's an Indian looking dude as well. Oh, we've ticked every box. But why? The game doesn't explain it. This is like a united country faction against, the Huns. Again, we're fighting the invading bloody undead. So why is it that exactly 1 in 10 of every person fits a certain demographic that has been decided in 2024 in this fantasy world? Further to that, all the environments are just sort of like this fetishized mess. Is it Persian? Is it Indian? I mean, it's definitely not Western, I suppose you could say that. What it looks like is, oh, that's a cool looking shawl that I saw on a Tumblr post or me bloody Instagram or whatever it is they use these days. I'm going to put that in my game design, right? There is actually no internal cohesion or culture to any of it, apart from the Napoleonic looking uniforms, I suppose, that the world building just becomes this homogenous mess. It has no identity. In their pursuit to make the perfectly balanced ESG, we've ticked every box quota, they have created the most bland, boring, non-identifiable society. At one point I had a fleeting thought, because this dude was getting the shit kicked out of him in a cutscene, and he's like a, bearded up Indian looking guy. And, couple that with this kind of Napoleonic uniform, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if the whole theme was actually like British Raj? So there you go, try and dissect that, you stupid woke mongrels. I'm not trying to say everything should be white. I'm saying it should have a cultural cornerstone. So imagine if all the characters in this were like Indian colonial army trooper type aesthetic, right? Then you could build a culture around them. All your designs would have life and something interesting, and it wouldn't take you out of it. What I would see is a culture that is cohesive and makes sense and is immersive. But what I see instead in this is 2024 meta level meddling in the makeup of your environmental design, at least for the main culture. How boring, how bland. Anyway, that's all I really want to say on it. Yet again, I'm a voice of reason in this, but I get worked up. I try so hard to be bloody Malcolm in the middle and give everyone a fair go. But yet again, it has been proven that these companies are meddling with artistic design to their detriment. And like I said, I certainly hope they got the investment money, because like all the other Sweet Baby type games that have come out this year, it's probably going to get boycotted. You're not going to get the money off the people that are interested in a cohesive game world that's immersive first, and modern political inserts second, or God help me, not even a consideration. How to shoot yourself in the foot and torpedo your own game 101. They should do a GDC talk on that, now that they're experts.